All right, folks. We're live.
Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. Humpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again.
We are live. Dolphin Fan Voices podcast. Uh, Thank you to everybody that's tuning in. If you're watching, whether it's Facebook or YouTube, go ahead and share this to your Facebook page or your Twitter page. We got a lot to talk about. Um, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves, man. Supposed to have one more other person coming on live with us. We're just waiting on Jay. He should be popping back in soon. So let's take off from where we are right now. He'll jump in when he gets here. Whenever you're ready, man.
Okay. Name's Ron. Lifelong Dolphin fan. Pretty much born into it. Used to watch it with my dad in the 70s when the undefeated season was going on. Just all I can remember is being a Dolphin fan, and I just see myself as always being a Dolphin fan, thick and thin.
And my name is Isaiah. I actually grew up across the lake. I grew up across Lake Lucerne from the stadium, from Joe Robbie Stadium. Of course, that name is flipped like a million times. Just like Ron, I grew up watching football, watching the Dolphins with my dad. Um, Back then, it was the Dolphins, the Marlins, and the Hurricanes. And of course, since I grew up, I learned what was up with collegiate sports, so I don't watch that trash no more. But a uh, a Miami fan. I'm a Miami guy. Miami Heat, Dolphins, Marlins, everything Miami. And I see Jay is in the building now. Hey, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, man?
Hey, what's up, bro? This is Jay. Lifelong Dolphin fan. Just happy to be back on talking Miami Dolphin football with you guys.
All right. So there's a lot to talk about. What do you guys want to go at first, man? We got the Carolina Panthers versus the Miami Dolphins. That game is tomorrow.
Yeah, Friday.
It's Friday. Wait a minute. Am I mixed? Yeah, that's right. Because I was supposed to have tomorrow off.
Yeah.
Me and my big mouth. Um,
It was a trick. They set you up.
yeah, I got set up bad, man. I should have. Anytime you get a call from work on your day off, don't answer that shit, man. Don't answer. Just let it ring and answer it the next day and say you missed the call or some shit like that. So, I guess we could start off by jumping into um, the Dolphins versus Panthers. I guess we can go over just some of our expectations of what we'd like to see in that game. Whoever wants to jump in, go ahead.
Go ahead, Ron. You could take off.
All right. Well, from what I've gathered, we won't be seeing Kalen Balaj or Mike Gesicki.
Whoa!
They're in the concussion protocol from I think Monday,
Wow!
and we won't see Parker or Stills. They're holding Stills out just to make sure it's not a long time thing. But I don't know if everybody knows, except for me and Isaiah, but Parker broke his middle finger, so he's out to probably week 1 or 2.
Yeah. Oh man.
I'm looking to see improvement on the D line, and if what I'm hearing is true, they'll probably start Vincent Taylor on the ones over Akeem Spence
Right.
because of the run defense. And we just saw after we cut Gabe Wright for taking a cheap shot at Kenyon Drake,
Yep.
we signed Langford back.
Right.
I guess he was a pick in 2008 or whatever.
Yep.
So he's back at defensive tackle, but I don't know if we'll see much of him.
Yep.
From what I noticed in practice, uh, Albert Wilson's playing still spot in the Z, and he's tearing it up. And except for a couple of drops, Grant's doing really well at the X.
Man.
My only concern, I think the team is screwing up by the DB competition as the opposite Howard. I think they should just leave it alone with Tank and let McTire be his backup instead of swinging Bobby McCain out on the boundary
Yeah.
and taking Minka out of free safety and putting him in the slot. I think that exposes us again for the deep ball.
Yep.
And the example I have for that is when Minka was playing free safety, basically TJ's spot, because Rashad Jones didn't play in the Tampa game.
Yep.
So TJ was playing the strong safety for Jones. And man, that guy was wide open, and Minka out of nowhere closed the gap with his speed and range, and he separated that dude from the ball.
Exactly.
He
And
flashed that range that just, when I'm watching tape of him, and I was thinking might not even have a chance at taking him, but I wished we would have, which we did, is his range is elite. And you could see it on the field, and he popped. Like, I was hoping he was going to do good, but man, dude, he looked like he was a 3-year veteran, like he knew what was going on, and he was Pro Bowlers. Just has that elite range.
I've 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 always been hoping for us to get an Ed Reed type of safety back there. And I'm not comparing Minka Fitzpatrick to Ed Reed, but that's the type of safety I felt like we needed to pair up with Rashad Jones. And like you were just saying, I don't understand taking him and putting him in the slot and flipping Bobby McCain outside, because it still leaves you with the same problem. You still end up with two strong safeties out there, and that's gonna leave us open to those deep shots. Uh, as far as the Baltimore Raven and not Baltimore Ravens, as far as the Carolina versus the Dolphins is concerned, um, I just like you were just saying, man, I want to see how we're able to stop the run. How that up front is able to get some penetration on the run, and I just seen guys missing gap assignments and things of that nature. I want to see a better game out of Raekwon McMillan. Definitely this game, he has to step up because he is a key piece in this defense. If he doesn't perform the way that we need him to, it's going to be a long goddamn year for us up front as far as stopping the run. Um, at wide receiver, I'm hoping to see more of Owosu. I would love for him to get some first team reps um, and just get more passes. I want to see this offense get more. I hope the hell that we see this offense getting more series than just one. There's so much to work on. You have a quarterback that has not played in a year and 3 games. This
Yeah,
we need to be getting as many reps as possible so that we don't end up hitting our stride in week fucking 5. That has been our issue for like the last 2 to 3 years, where we come out flat as shit. We end up coming out the gate 1-4, some dumb shit like that, and then we finally find something that works around game 5 or something like that, and then we start winning a few games. I would love to see us come right out of the gate, start winning, find our identity, and go from there instead of waiting until week 5, week 6, shit like that, and then you start finding out what's working. Um, but yeah, man, um, that's my expectations, and of course, just staying healthy, man. We must stay healthy. No more injuries. I think Mike Hull got injured in the last game.
Yeah,
Anybody
he
got a
sprained his MCL.
shit?
He'll be back by week 2 or 3, they said. He's
Uh,
not going to miss a big time. There was no tears. It was just a MCL strain.
okay, all right. And what are your thoughts, Jay?
Well, for me, it started with Ryan Tannehill. I want to see Ryan Tannehill in his second game back. I know he's not going to have a lot around him, but I really don't care. I just want to see him make progress and just see him go out there and make plays. And I would love to see us go out there and score on our first drive.
Yes.
Um, Another guy I'm interested in seeing is Frank Gore. I think Frank Gore is going to give us that dynamic that we need on the offensive side of the ball. I love Kenyon Drake, but Kenyon Drake is a more of a shifty, speedy guy. Frank Gore is going to give us that power back, that Jay Ajayi that we've been missing. He's not quite Jay Ajayi, but he's going to give us that power back that we need. He's going to be able to control the game for us, keep the ball out of Ryan Tannehill hands. So I'm interested in seeing Frank Gore. Mika Fitzpatrick, I love what I saw out of him that first game. And I'm like you, Isaiah. I want to see these linebackers. I want to see how they play against Cam Newton. Our problem is struggling against tight ends and running quarterbacks. So I want to see how, we play against Cam Newton. Remember last year, Cam Newton tore us a new asshole. Remember that long run that he had?
Yep.
So I'm just interested in seeing how this defense step up and especially that cornerback position. Listen, I'm not a fan of Bobby McCain playing on the outside. He's small, he's undersized. I think he's a great slot receiver. I actually think that Bobby McCain may be a top 3 slot receiver in the game, but I don't want to see him on the outside. I want to see Lippett. I don't know. Did Lippett play any in the first preseason game? Do you guys know?
No. He's nursing some injuries. His foot was sore, and they didn't say exactly, but they said it was a lower extremity issues that he's having. So I think he's trying to come back too soon from that Achilles instead of easing into it. And I think he hurt himself.
Well, yeah, but I just don't like Bobby McCain being on the outside. I don't like that idea. I think he's undersized. I don't think when we go against those big wide receivers, he's just going to get it. That's just not a good idea, in my opinion. I don't like that idea, but I guess we got to do what we got to do for right now, and that's about it. And I'm actually interested in seeing the kickers as well.
I would I would love to I would love to see Lippett out there at that other cornerback spot.
Yes,
It the
sir.
the the, the thing is for me is if the defensive line is doing what I expect it to do, the guys at cornerback's job is going to get a whole lot easier. When you have a defensive line of Wake and Quinn and Harris and Branch, and they're getting after the quarterback, it's going to force the quarterback to get rid of the ball a lot sooner. That's what you've seen with the Giants when they were making their runs. They didn't necessarily have a great secondary, but their defensive line was able to get after quarterbacks and cause them to have to throw the ball earlier than they wanted to, which in turn turned into some turnovers for the secondary. So the defensive line, they can't allow the quarterback to sit back. I don't care what cornerbacks we have out there. We don't really have a damn I forgot the guy, a Patrick Peterson. We got a guy that's growing to it maybe, but we don't have that guy yet. So it will be very very beneficial to our young secondary to have a pass rush that is getting around the quarterback harassing him, making him throw that ball just a second before he wants to throw it and possibly putting the ball in harm's way. And Lippett is just that type of cornerback that has the ball skills. And we saw that in 2016. He's got some wide receiver ball skills because he did play wide receiver before, where he tracks the ball like a wide receiver. So that's why I really like Lippett, and I really hope that he's ready to take that other spot and we're able to get pass rush on the quarterback.
Yeah, and one thing I like about Lippett is Lippett got sticky fingers. You'll look up and the ball will be in his hands. You know, he's I think in 2016 he had 6 interceptions, and I'm not mistaken, 6 or 7. And that's what I like. You know, I'm normally a type of guy. I like bigger corners like the Jalen Ramsey and the Xavier Rose. I like big physical corners. But hell, if you can go out there and give me 8, 9 picks a season, I don't mind you being a little small of a guy. And that's what I like about Tony Lippett. You know, watching Tankersley last year, there was some good things that I've seen out of him, but there was no turnovers. The Dolphins barely got turnovers, and I think that's what Tony Lippett gives us. Yeah, he's going to get beat every now and then, and every corner get beat every now and then, but he has sticky fingers, and he's going to be able to create turnovers. So I'm hoping that he can get his shit together. I don't know what's going on. Maybe he's still dealing with the injury that he dealt with last year. But for me, it's Tony Lippett at the other side of the corner.
Well, with the problem right now with Tankersley right now is he's having communication breakdowns, and it showed up in that Tampa game. If you were watching after they pulled Howard and they put McTire out on the right corner, and then they had Lippett playing the left, and they called the same coverage for each side. The linebackers were supposed to shoot the flat, and then the corners were supposed to take the ones. Tank misunderstood from the signal that he got from Stephon Anthony. Mm-hmm. Anthony gave him the wrong signal, so they both shot the flat and left that guy wide open. That's how that one pass converted that third down. And it's those types of things that's slowing Tankersley down right now is the miscommunication, and I think that goes to the short leash that Burke and Gase have put on him, is that they're not allowing him to have those reps, see and find his mistakes, and allow him to see what they are and work on them. It's, oh, you screwed up, you're now on your third team. So he goes from the first team to the third team, works his way back up to the first team, he'll make a mistake, and they drop him back down to the third team.
This team
and the interchanging of the linebackers because they can't make up their mind is helping foster that miscommunication. They don't get, like what you were talking about, Isaiah, on the offense. They don't get to sit there and in a minute and get a rhythm, get used to each other until it's week 5. By that time, especially this year, our schedule doesn't favor a slow start. If we come out 2-6, you can kiss the playoffs in 8-8 goodbye, because we end up going into a fucking buzzsaw. We get Minnesota, Jacksonville, New England, fucking all the hard teams at that end of the week 13, after our bye week. That schedule turns into a buzzsaw. And if you're trying like last year, we're trying to get some wins, we're screwed, Lou tattooed if we come out slow. And the only way we're going to come out fast is like you guys said. You have to give snaps to your 5 starting offensive line. If you're interchanging a guy here, a guy there, well, you're not getting your continuity. If the running back comes in for one play, he's out, and you send another guy in for 2-3 plays, and you're constantly rotating in and out, it's not helping you out. And
can I ask everybody a question? And this is something that I don't quite understand. All right, unless we were fed wrong information, which is completely possible. I was hearing over the camps and all through camps that Torrey McTyer was looking awesome. He was looking great. He was going to end up being the guy that was going to get the start opposite of Xavier Howard. Did everybody hear that?
Yes.
I kept hearing that, right?
I
Right.
kept hearing that Tankersley was doing awesome too.
Yeah. And then now, after one preseason game, now we blowing shit up. We're bringing in cornerbacks. How do you go through an entire camp and then you play one preseason game and you're like, fuck it, we need somebody else. Like, I'm done with this. Like, how does that happen?
It happens because Burke, if you notice, the first 5 snaps on defense, what was our alignment? We had a cover 2 base shell, right?
Yep.
But Howard and I can't remember who started. I think it was Tank. They were 8 to 10 yards off the ball, and all McCown did was call 8-yard comebacks. Now, tell me if I'm wrong. We drafted Howard because he's almost 6'1".
Yep.
He's 200 pounds, right?
Yep.
He only runs a 4.48. He's just under 4.5 speed, and he's got like a 7.5 3-cone, so he's not really explosive in the hips, but he's got those freakish long arms. And if you watch his Baylor tape, his first move off the line of scrimmage before the wide receiver can take 2 steps is the hand goes on the shoulder pad, and he just leans on him like a power forward does, trying to get down into the paint. He leans on to him. Next thing you know, there's just inches from going out of bounds, and that 5-yard slide to the sideline. Now the timing of the route is off.
Right.
And how is he going to get his hand on a guy playing 10 yards off the ball?
That makes no fucking sense.
And that's why Bobby McCain is out on there, because Bobby's the shorter guy. He's got elite 3-cone, like he's I think he was a 6.7 flat, which is fucking phenomenal.
Yep.
And he's got the 4.40 40-yard dashes and shit, short arms, so he can play off, see the route, understand the route that's running, and then break on the ball and get there before the pass gets there. That's not Tank, that's not Lippett, and that's not fucking Howard. But that's what he's calling. We only have one corner on the roster that has that skill set, and it's Burke. It's the scheme. It's cover 2, play off, and zone. They were passing guys off. The linebacker starts off covering the wide receiver. He passes him off and flashes to the flat to cover the out routes. And then the corner picks him up off the off ball and is supposed to be able to see the eyes of the quarterback and read and make a play on it. But they don't have the explosive change of direction. The only one that does is Tony Lippett, but his fastest 40-yard dash in a straight line is 4.6. He's 6'3", 208, and he's not very fast. You have to get him on the line of scrimmage like Howard, and you have to let him do what Richard Sherman does. You have to let them get their hands on the guy, and that is what they are. We're trying to play like we have Marcus Peters and Aqib Talib, and we don't. We got Richard Sherman type guys. That's Lippett and Howard and Tank. Tank's 6'1", almost 6'2". Lippett's 6'3", and Howard's almost 6'1". Now Bobby McCain is 5'10". McTire is 5'10", and that other kid we got is under 6 foot. That 6th round draft pick, Cornell Armstrong. They're so green that they can't play, but they match the coverage that Burke wants to play, and that's the problem. You can't play off. If they're playing off, we making these guys like McCown and these retarded quarterbacks that look like shit everywhere else. When they play us, they look like they're a Pro Bowler. It's pitch and catch. It's 3 to 5 step drop. They throw the quick out 8 yards, and our defense has got their backs against the wall, and the pass rush don't have time to get there. Until Howard watched film after Ajayi got traded to the Eagles. He started watching film on himself and his opponent. Comes out in Denver and he's starting to look like he's Chris Harris. He's up on the dude, and he's in the dude's hip pocket. And you got quarterbacks like Simeon. They're not very accurate. They're relying on separation. Isaiah talks about all the time in his posts on his Facebook page. Small and slow. And if the quarterback is not a precision, accurate Tom Brady type guy, passing in these small little fucking windows that are inches, it's an incomplete pass or it's a pick. If you're going to play that kind of ball where the quarterback isn't really accurate, like what Baker had in Oklahoma when he walked on his first year, what did they have? They had guys that were like Antonio Brown, Jakeem Grant, Albert Wilson, these dudes that are running fucking Olympic sprints. They make a move and they're wide open because they just broke the dude's ankle. Like Grant did this week on practice on Monday. Bobby McCain had coverage on him because they put Lippett on they put Tankersley on the second team, and he made McCain literally fall down and roll on the ground while Grant was going down the sideline, and Tannehill overthrew him and he couldn't get the ball. But he was wide open because he just made that stutter move, and the guy he's like snapping ankles. And that's what you have to have if you have an inaccurate quarterback. Or you have to do what me and Isaiah always talk about. You have to have the big guys like Dez Bryant before his decline. You have to have the A.J. Greens. Just throw it up and let him catch it. But ours is made out of glass.
Yep. You got anything, Jay?
Nah, nothing to add. I pretty much agree.
All right. Let's see here. Devante Parker. And I've been kind of, first of all, let me explain my reference of, and I guess I'll play the song again of why I called Devante Parker Humpty Dumpty.
Humpty Dumpty.
Some people understand it, some people don't. So here we go, guys. Enjoy.
Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again.
All right. So for those of you who don't know, Devante Parker is our very big receiver, who I consider to be fragile as a goddamn egg. He is constantly injured. And every single time I hear about him being injured, I can just envision the medical staff running out trying to put him back together again. So that's the reason why I started calling him Humpty Dumpty. And that's the reason why you've seen that song on my page numerous times, or heard that. Now he is injured. A fetal injury, I think this is what's being said. He's got a middle finger injury.
Yep, it's a broken middle finger.
So, of course, he's going to be out half the year. He'll come back week 8. He'll hurt himself shaving his vagina, and then he'll miss another couple. See, like I said in a previous video, man, we have had one hell of a time drafting wide receivers in the first round. It seems to be a curse. Every single receiver that we drafted in the first round outside of O.J. McDuffie never panned out. Till Green, Devante Parker, Ted Ginn Jr. It never works for us. Ever. We've had way more success drafting those guys from the second down. My question is, what do you guys think the Dolphins should do about Devante Parker?
Well, listen, I think the Miami Dolphins should consider trading Devante Parker. I really do. At some point, Isaiah and Ronald, when does it get old? When does it get old? You understand what I'm saying? When do you stop holding on to that woman or that man that keep letting you down? When do you say to yourself, listen, this shit just not going to work out? I don't care how good they look. I don't care, and listen, when you look at a guy like Devante Parker, he has everything that you want in a wide receiver. He's the biggest tease ever. You understand what I'm saying? But it's just to that point where he's so frustrated. And I think when you have an average quarterback like Ryan Tannehill, you have to surround Ryan Tannehill with great players.
Right.
That's why I was not opposed of getting rid of Jarvis Landry. You can say whatever you want about Jarvis Landry, but one thing you can't say that he misses games, that he doesn't give effort.
True.
And the issue that I have with Devante Parker, you take away Devante Parker, now you're talking about, I like Kenny Stills. Don't get me wrong, and I'm not sitting up here on this podcast and trying to act like Kenny Stills is booty cheeks, but Kenny Stills is a one-trick pony. Kenny Stills is not going to go across the middle and make nobody miss. He's a smaller guy. If he's not beating you deep, every now and then he'll beat you with a 10, 15-yard, but he's a one-trick pony. In my opinion, and please, nobody is not going to sell me on Danny Amendola being a great wide receiver. I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that. So for me, Devante Parker is whether we like it or not, he's a key piece because he gives us size, he's give us speed. He's that one receiver that can do it all. A guy that I really like is Jakeem Grant. But for some reason, I don't know what Jakeem Grant has done to Adam Gase, but Adam Gase just would not give this guy the time of day. So it's for me, it's just to that point where I'm ready to move on from Devante Parker. We have an average quarterback in Ryan Tannehill. And listen, Ryan Tannehill is not your Beyonce of the group. He's not your lead singer. He's not going to carry the band. He's not the headliner. You got to have parts around him. And the one thing that you got to have, they got to be on the field. So for me, I'm ready to get rid of Devante Parker. I'm tired of the excuses. I'm tired of him missing games. So for me, trade him.
I was already there in 2017 when, if you remember, Stills was on the market. The Eagles were pursuing him, and then they asked, well, we want one of your offensive guys. That, for me, it was perfect. You take their second-round pick, you hand them Parker, we resign Kenny, and we have an extra second-round pick. We could do something. Right now, in my opinion, Jakeem Grant has more than earned the chance at the outside. I mean, he's literally lighting everybody up. That pass in Tampa this past week on Thursday, it was underthrown. He was wide fucking. He got the guy behind the defense, and I think it was David Fells or Osweiler. I think it was Osweiler. He underthrew it by 5 yards. The guy he had to literally stop, go up over, and they call it a drop, but the defender caught back up and punched out of his hand. We have elite speed on the outside. We don't need a 6'3" piece of glass. And behind Grant, we have Wilson, who we're supposed to be moving all around. He's showing he did good playing Stills Z route. So if I think the issue with Grant right now is Gase still has that mentality when he was in Denver, and they had those two big receivers, Sanders and Demaryius Thomas. So in his mind, he has to have at least one of those tall guys, but he don't need it. We got Gesicki playing in the middle of the field, and we finally have a 6'6" fast guy that can't be covered by anyone. He boxes them out. So it don't matter if we have Smurfs on the outside. You got speed. You go attack outside the perimeter. use them to wash the safeties up to try to help the corner. And then you undercut with Gesicki. Is there a tight end, a safety that's going to cover Gesicki? We heard all about how Armando Salguero was like, oh, he's lost. He can't figure out the playbook. We just wasted a second-round pick, blah, 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 blah. He goes into week one with the first team, makes 3 killer blocks in the run game, goes down and fails, overthrows it, and he still almost caught it in the end zone. If it was just thrown where a 6-foot guy could catch it, Gesicki catches an easy touchdown.
Yep.
So we have a replacement for the jump ball in the end zone. It's Gesicki. We need to start getting out of this. I need to throw it 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage and see if Jarvis and Stills can get behind the guy. No. Why do you want to beat them down, getting hit by linebackers and safeties, free shots? Why not get behind and get them against corners and let them get behind the defense and do some actual real damage? Go into the second possession 7-0. Now the defense has the lead. We keep hearing how this myth, our defense is built to protect the lead. It's not built to come from behind, blah, blah, blah. Okay, do it. You got the horses. You got Wilson. You paid $8 million fucking dollars to. You got Stills. We paid $9.5 million to. Use them. Put Gesicki out there tight end. Let him run down like Gronk. We finally have our Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
And we have more than one running back. We got Grant, is just badass. They have him dead to rights in the backfield. He just makes this little side step move, and he's still going forward. The only player I've ever seen do that kind of stuff is Barry Sanders and Gale Sayers. They're just so smooth. They're slipperier than a fucking greased up pig trying to catch him in a pig pen. You can't even grab him. He just puts his hand on the dude's neck against the Patriots, makes a wicked ass, nasty ass spin move like he's hitting B in Madden, and he's gone. And then we bring in Frank Gore. We already know what Frank Gore is. Behind the shittiest offensive line in Indianapolis, the 34-year-old man almost had 1,000 yards with a offensive line that put fucking Andrew Luck in traction. He's had multiple times where he's broken ribs, lacerated spleen, lacerated kidney, a fucked up throwing shoulder, barely throwing a pass, almost out as long as Ryan Tannehill. And Frank Gore was almost 1,000-yard back with that trash offensive line. I don't get it. We don't need the screen pass. The screen pass is the wheel route to Jakeem Grant, to Albert Wilson, to Kalen Ballage, to fucking Kenyon Drake. We don't need to keep throwing these screen passes to Amendola, Jarvis Landry. That shit's got to come out of the mindset of this coach. We're going to put out Parker on one side. We're going to hamstring Stills to be the only big play guy on the other outside. We're going to put Amendola in the slot, and we're going to put Marquise Gray out there, and we're only 2 dynamic guys we got on the field is Stills and Drake, or Stills and Gore. Why?
Right.
You got 4. Grant is a legit 4.29 40-yard dash. I mean, he's doing it all the time at these camps where they build guys up for the draft and shit. And he's clocking under fucking 4.3.
Yep.
Usually, he's cheap. He's $500K on the salary cap. Go out there and get 12 touchdowns from him. Open it up for the slow-ass Amendola underneath. You got to have that burner going deep and underneath, take advantage of it.
If he was on a different, I believe he would be getting used more.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill. Think Tyreek Hill. He's exactly Grant's skill set. It's exact.
Yep. But I don't know what it is. I don't know if if our coaching staff just lacks imagination. I don't know what the thought process is and why. And I think, to me, it almost hinders the development of the quarterback that we have, that we continue to give him some of these weapons that don't give him that don't get the big separation. I really don't understand that at all. And I've been speaking about that for the longest. Like, god damn, why aren't we using these guys that are able to create separation and allow give Ryan Tannehill bigger windows to throw into, instead of the receivers that only get minimum separation, and as soon as they catch the ball, they get whacked.
Well, Isaiah, I gotta disagree with you. I gotta disagree with you when it comes down to that, because I think Ryan Tannehill, we, it's crazy to me because a lot of when people talk about Ryan Tannehill nowadays, they only point out the 2016 season, and that's great, that's fine. But there was 4 years that Ryan Tannehill played before that 2016 season, and let's not act like Ryan Tannehill wasn't one of the worst deep ball throwers in the NFL. He had a speedy guy, Mike Wallace, who, when Mike Wallace came from Pittsburgh, he was one of the best deep threats in the game. So
Right.
let's not act like Ryan Tannehill haven't struggled throwing the deep ball. There's a reason why Jarvis Landry catches over 100 balls every single year. You understand what I'm saying? It's not that the Miami Dolphins haven't had speedy receivers. It's not like they haven't had a Kenny Stills, a Mike Wallace. You even look at a guy like Rashad Matthews. You understand what I'm saying? People was like, well, he couldn't go deep. But you look at what he did with Marcus Mariota. To me, it kind of goes back into Ryan Tannehill got better with the deep ball in 2016. So
Right.
I don't think we could blame the wide receivers and the receivers that were surrounding.
Yeah, we can, because the emergence of the deep ball come when he was throwing it to Kenny Stills. And I've been critical of Stills in the past, but in the slot, he's a better, dangerous, more easier weapon to match up against the safety. But I was all
Ronald, I'm
for
sorry to cut you off, bro.
keeping Rashad Matthews, because even though he's not like lightning fast in a straight line, he's got a suddenness to his breaks at the stem of his routes, and he creates separation with those sudden steps. He's crisp, like in and out of his breaks, and the suddenness and the change of direction is he's got a good head fake.
Ronald,
We
let me ask you a
messed
question.
up getting rid of him.
Ronald, let me ask you a question, bro. Did Ryan Tannehill get better in 2016 throwing the deep ball, or was teams stacking the box because they was afraid of Jay Ajayi running the ball for 200, 150 plus?
That's right, they were.
I think teams was afraid of Jay Ajayi. They was afraid of Jarvis Landry eating in an intermediate game. Jarvis Landry was, when it come down to the short intermediate passes, Jarvis Landry was tearing people a new asshole in 2016. We had Jay Ajayi running the ball for 200 plus. So teams were stacking the box. They wasn't afraid of Ryan Tannehill throwing deep. So every now and then, Ryan Tannehill would catch teams off guard, and he would throw the ball over the top to Kenny Stills. I don't think we have that now. I don't think we have a running back that teams are afraid of. I don't think we have a intermediate. Ain't nobody's afraid of, goddamn it, Danny Amendola eating in the middle of the field. So I don't think we're going to see those deep passes like we seen in 2016.
You know what? I gotta agree with you. No, like, Drake is just a different kind of back. Ajayi is a back that in the first quarter you want to tackle. In the second quarter, you're like, fuck, here comes this big 230-pound guy running downhill. And he was the type of back to me that would be one of the type of backs that would get stronger as the game goes on. Drake isn't that type of guy. Now, hopefully Frank Gore can give us that. And yes, the play action, some of the best throws that I've seen from Ryan Tannehill to this day was either play action or either him rolling out.
Exactly.
That play that I seen him where he rolled out of in that what game was that? In the Steeler game. He rolled out and he dropped that dime to that tight end. I don't remember who that was.
That was great.
That was a beautiful fucking throw. But his
what about
best
the 49er game? What about the 49er game? They played
Which one was
9 men. The 49er game against Kaepernick, they lined up 9 men in the box, and they were throwing it to Parker, Stills, and Carew. And Carew got his first touchdown in that game.
I don't know.
It was
I'm trying
play
to-
action all day long, and they
Yep.
were eating. Landry
Yep.
was eating. Stills was eating. Even
Yep.
Parker, his slow ass was still eating. But I mean, we saw that in this Thursday game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They play actioned it to Drake, and Tannehill had all day long because the two linebackers keyed on Drake, and then he overthrew Amendola. That's what I'm saying. Why are we trying to stick with slow guys that can't
Exactly.
get separation when you have Isaiah Ford? I swear to God, I will admit that when I'm wrong. When we picked him in the 7th round, I was so fucking pissed because we had linebacker needs and we had Elijah Lee from Kansas State sitting there that could be a good will linebacker.
Yep.
And we go to Isaiah Ford from Virginia Tech, and I'm sitting there, and I facepalm myself like 9 times, like, what the fuck are we doing? But I have to admit, once he got past this knee injury last year in his rookie year, he's showing something and has for like 3 weeks now. And he showed some nice, crisp in and out of his breaks. He's almost 6'2 and a half.
Yep.
He's 189 pounds. He's not quite the big frame. But he runs a smooth 4.5, 40-yard dash. Now, he's not slow.
Right.
And his change of direction is wicked. He gave in college when Tankersley for Clemson was covering Isaiah Ford. Ford broke Tankersley's ankles a few times, and Tank in a foot race down one-on-one, if it's a sprint, Tankersley's faster than Ford, and Ford got separation. He's using head fakes, double moves. His where he could, I don't know how what you the technical term call it when you're running a break, but he's changes his speed. He's not like one speed turn and the guy knows where to come down. He's making it look like he's gonna settle in on, and then all of a sudden he hits another. He shifts gears. I don't know what they call that as a technical term, but he can turn and shift, break, make instead of 3 steps to turn and come back for the ball. He can plant, do it 1.5 steps, and he's back around. By that time, if you don't have good corners that can change direction, like a Patrick Peterson or a Bobby McCain, the guy's stuck. Like what's that guy's name? Julio Jones does to guys on the outside. He can move step one way, come back the other, and then the guy's just left 8 yards trying to turn around, and Julio is standing there by himself. Ford has that type of his breaks off the stem, and he's a slot receiver. He's lighting it up. Why do we got to get stuck with slow guys? We got rid of Jarvis Landry, which I was not a fan of because I love the guy. His fire, his intensity. But let's face it, he's not going to win no foot race. And at times he was manhandled by bigger corners and the bigger free safeties that they were using, the hybrid guys, like a Minka Fitzpatrick, the Deion Buchanans, the Tyrann Matthews. Those guys, once they get on him, he can't really get off of them. And to his credit, he's got good hands. But Ford can. So if we're going to do the play action and throw it, why are we throwing it to a slow guy? Throw it to Gesicki.
Yes.
Throw it underneath to Wilson or Grant. Let him break a tackle. Grant took that 4-yard screen pass on the sideline, 66 yards against Kansas City. They ain't chumps.
Yep. I wish that Landry would have taken the deal and stayed, but that's water under the bridge. I knew for a fact that they were not going to give him number one money. As soon as I started hearing those number one money type, I was like, no, there's no way in hell that's going to happen.
You want to know why he asked for that? Because he realized that the team lied to him when they gave him permission at the combine to talk to other teams.
Yep.
He found out that in fact Mike Tannenbaum had shopped him around and had the whole previous draft all off season and all the way through the season, and had a deal in place to trade him to the Baltimore Ravens for a third round pick. And Gase put the snafu to. He's like, no, 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 no. We're not giving him to an AFC team. No way.
Right.
So Gase stopped that, but in Landry's mind, he got disrespected.
Yep.
Because Gase wanted him just like he wanted to keep Stills, but Mike Tannenbaum wouldn't allow it. So it's basically Gase and Tannenbaum went to Ross, and Ross said, okay, we'll keep it. But the damage had already been done. Landry at that time wasn't going to accept nothing from us short of 15.5 million. Now, see, when he got to Cleveland, he settled for, was it 14.125 or Parton Harris? It was literally the same deal that we offered him, and he turned it down.
Yeah, because he was
slighted. In his mind, his ego was bruised.
Yep.
But it's water under the bridge. Right now, we have talent at wide receiver that we can use.
Well, it's water under the bridge. It's water under the bridge, and I agree with you, Ronald. But at the end of the day, we don't have no alpha dog in that wide receiver room. We don't have nobody that I believe in. I'm sorry?
I disagree. I think Grant
who's the alpha dog? Well, you tell me who's the alpha dog in that wide receiver room.
Grant.
Are you serious, bro? You sitting here telling me that Jakeem Grant is the alpha dog. Jakeem Grant is the leader. Jakeem Grant is going to be that fire that gets the troops. We know we don't. That what you're telling me?
Yes.
Jakeem Grant.
Yes.
I think Jakeem Grant is a bigger matchup problem than Jarvis Landry.
Jakeem Grant is a mix between Antonio Brown waiting to happen and Tyreek Hill waiting to happen.
Now,
all he needs is a chance to run the routes and be targeted at least sometimes. Because right now, most of his snaps that he had last year was to block. Him and Landry were basically tight ends because Fasano wasn't what we thought he was anymore. And Julius Thomas was a complete utter waste of a roster spot. That we paid over $7.5 million for, and I aptly named him, in my opinion, on this podcast with Isaiah, is the sloth. I could run faster than that motherfucker in full pads, and I am not no athlete by no means. In high school, I was basically a defensive tackle and a left and right guard. That was it.
Well, you know what I have noticed, and I'm not saying it's you, Ronald, and I'm not saying it's you, Isaiah.
Right.
But I kind of noticed a little bitterness coming from Dolphin Nation. And listen, Jarvis Landry wasn't no Ferrari. He wasn't no Bentley. He was, you know what I'm saying? But he was a guy that was he was more of a Hyundai. A Hyundai that you could rely on, a Hyundai that you could depend on, that was going to get the kids back and forth to school, get the wife back and forth to work. He was a guy that you can rely on. And whether we like it or not, that guy Eaton, when this team was terrible, the guy played with 4 quarterbacks in 4 different years. He played with 3 offensive coordinators. He played with an offensive coach that I had no faith in, even though I kind of liked the Joe Philbin. I kind of thought that people kind of he wasn't worth the criticism that he received. But let's not act like this team didn't have a lot of shit going on around it. And I believe
we did.
I just believe that we didn't replace that. You got a guy in Danny Amendola who I have no faith in. You got a guy in Albert Wilson that I think that we overpaid. You got a guy in Devante Parker who can't stay on the field. And when he does stay on the field, he's average at best. You got a guy in Kenny Steele who's like I said, he's a one-trick pony. And Jakeem Grant, I like Jakeem Grant. But it seemed like the Dolphins don't believe in Jakeem Grant. So when you're getting rid of a guy like Jarvis Landry, who's a top 15 wide receiver in this league, whether the Miami Dolphin fan base want to believe that or not, you got to replace him. And I don't think we replace it. You cannot tell me 112 catches does not fucking matter. I mean, the first thing that you got to do, guys, I played wide receiver in high school. The first thing that the coaches teaches you is to catch the ball. I don't care how fast you are, how you can blow past cornerbacks. If you can't catch the ball, you're meaningless to a football team.
I think we're going to replace it, and we have more than one guy that can do it. Replace the dog.
I think when you add guys
Now,
like
I don't. Go ahead.
I think when you add guys like a 6'6" Gasecki, a guy who is going to give these DBs problems because he's too big, and linebackers problems because he's too fast. He's going to eat up some of those short to intermediate catches. I think Albert Wilson is going to eat up some of those short to intermediate catches. I like the formation that puts Stills, Parker, and Grant on the field together because they're all interchangeable. You'll be able to work those guys. You'll see. I want to see a formation where Grant goes out to the boundary, or Stills is out here, or Stills is in the slot, and Grant's over there. Like when you put Jarvis Landry outside, that's a waste of time. It really is. It's a waste of time, especially if he's against one of those top flight cornerbacks because he's getting no separation. If I put Jakeem Grant out there, that's a different story. I put Jakeem Grant out there versus Malcolm Butler, he can burn that guy. I put Landry out there, I can't really throw that pass because he's not going to give me the separation. Gasecki, like I say, man, that was a huge signing for us. I just hope he's able to pan out. I hope this coaching staff is gonna put these young guys in the right position for success. And then you got guys like Francis Owusu that I just hope he is able to get enough touches and get into favor with these guys, because we've seen some guys come out and look great for us and end up not being on the roster. Like the kid
Stringfellow last year, 99-yard touchdown.
exactly. That's exactly who I
6
was
foot, 6'4", 215 pounds, and can still run really well.
big guy, and we let him
He
go.
was raw. He's on the Jets roster right now.
Exactly. So like this team has to groom a number one receiver.
I think we have it.
Yeah.
I think we have the young guy in Owusu. All he has to do now, the trick is he has to stay healthy.
Yeah.
Last year he was gonna make the roster.
Oh my God!
And he got hurt. But I know Jay's gonna cringe, but I believe we have the dog in Grant, Wilson, and Amendola. Now I don't think Amendola is gonna be the dog in actual playing time, but in the locker room, in the meeting room, showing these guys, this is how you run your routes. This is where you put your hand. This is when you break the route off. Because if you look at it, New England doesn't have elite talent at the wide receiver positions. What they had was guys that paid attention to the minutest, smallest microscopic detail.
But they have one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play in the game.
If the coach called a 12-yard out, they ran it 12-yard out. And all the lack of talented Tom Brady has to do is throw it to a spot. That's all he's not this elite guy that they're making him out to be, where he's picking defenses apart. No. Daniels is calling a fucking elite scheme, and he's got the guys that can actually precisely run where they're going to move it. They don't want to run the ball 20, 30, 40 times a game. They're going to burn you by throwing that 5 to 7 yard out, or the 5 7 yard routes, and hope the guys break a tackle, because that 5 to 7 yards, 2 plays, it's a first down. They just keep moving the chains, eating the time up, throwing these small passes, and that's where they get you. And they're running these precise routes. They're not burning you big time. It's precision. And what we're lacking right now, and what we heard all last season from Gase is when he called a certain play, the guys weren't in their depth. And Jay Cutler wasn't going to read what was going on. He's going to throw it to the spot, and we saw it all the time. Where is he throwing that ball? The guy wasn't there. Well, the play was called to go there, and they weren't there. And that's where Gesicki comes in. He's a precision route runner, pays attention to his detail. He has a massive fucking catch radius. Like the first preseason OTA, they were running the first red zone drills, and Tannehill got frustrated, threw the ball away. Gesicki jumped up and one-handed palmed it in the end zone for a touchdown. And from then on, Gase is like, wait a minute, this guy can do what? So they called it again. And then it was Fitzpatrick couldn't cover him, even if he was blanketing on him. Howard couldn't cover him. Fucking none of the rookies, linebackers could cover him. The only one that could run with him is Baker. But Baker's still only 215 pounds. He's not going to – how is he going to deal with the 255-pound tight end that's running just as fast as he is? Now, Baker's 6'1.5", or that's giving him some credit, and he's 215 pounds. Gesicki's 6'6", 255, and runs the same speed as Baker. All he has to do is box out, jump up, pluck the ball out at a high point. It's over. You can't defend it. You have to commit pass interference, and he still will catch it.
See, that's one of the things that the Patriots have had the advantage of over teams for quite some time, because they come out on
Hernandez, Bennett, fucking just dominating.
Exactly. They find those matchups and they exploit them. I mean, James White is another guy. You get James White out of the backfield matched up on a linebacker, and we seen what happened in that Falcons Super Bowl. They pick their spots and they exploit where you're weak at. They use their guys.
Dion Lewis, dude, that guy was a matchup nightmare.
Exactly. And
I wanted us to get him, but he was way too expensive. Tennessee paid. But like you said, he's a matchup nightmare. Ridiculous covering him with a linebacker. You might as well just hand the fucker a first down and say, fuck it.
But we have that same type of matchup with Kenyon Drake.
But we don't use it.
That's the problem.
Did you see how dangerous Kalen Ballage was? Now, I know he hurdled that guy and made himself fumble. Right. But my God, dude, for a rookie, ever see a rookie get that many carries and touches, even in a preseason game from Gase? You don't. That dude was a late fourth-round pick, and look at him. He's running through the hole. They said me and you watched the Senior Bowl, and we were talking during we were watching it.
Yep.
That they were talking, the announcers, even Daniel Jeremiah from the NFL Network, saying he can't find the hole. He doesn't lead his blocker. Well, all I saw from Ballage in our game was a guy that did set up his blocks. He did find the hole. And he didn't look like a guy was going down with first contact.
Nope.
Let me ask you guys a question. Let me ask you guys a question about Kenyon Drake. Because I'm not really sold on him, to be completely honest with you. But I want to ask you guys what you guys feel about him. Do you guys see him as a 1,200-yard back, 9-10 touchdown, or do you see him average back? Do you guys see him as a? I don't think he's an all-pro. I don't think he's a Todd Gurley or one of those upper elite running backs. But do you guys see him as a 1,200-yard back, maybe 9 or 10 touchdowns? How do you guys view Kenyon Drake?
I disagree. Go ahead, Isaiah. You go first, and I'll go.
So you saying you see Kenyon Drake being a Todd Gurley, being a Ezekiel Elliott?
No,
I don't see that.
I would like to see Kenyon Drake put in the mold of Marshall Faulk. That is my all-time favorite running back.
Were you talking about an elite running back in Marshall Faulk?
Yes. I think Kenyon Drake has the skill set where we can flank him out as a receiver. He's got the speed to do that. I think he's got the power to run between the tackles, and he's got the speed to get out on the edge. That's all the things that I loved about Marshall Faulk. I can perfectly see Kenyon Drake being a double-digit touchdown guy. But I don't know if he's going to have back that's going to scare the daylights out of defenses that don't want to come up and tackle him. And I think that's the type of guy that's going to work the best
with Ryan Tannehill.
with Ryan Tannehill,
Exactly.
because it's going to force teams to put 8 in the box. It's going to open up the play action, because the play action, to me, as I've said before, to me, that is where Tannehill shines. The play action, rolling him out. That's where he makes some of his best throws. So we'll see how it works. I want to see just Kenyon Drake just, you know, work towards that Marshall Faulk mold. He got the skill set. He definitely has the skill set to be that kind of a guy. Just an all-purpose back, scoring 10 touchdowns through the run, catching 60 balls. I can definitely see Kenyon Drake doing that.
But you're saying you don't never see him as being a top 5 running back in this league. He's going to be an average.
Can he get to be a top 5 running back?
Because I see more of a DeMarcos Maury. What his name is? DeMarcos Maury.
DeMarco Murray?
Who used to play with the Tennessee Titans and for the Dallas Cowboys? His name is DeMarcos Maury, right?
You think he's more of a DeMarco Murray?
Yeah, more of a DeMarcus Maury. I don't see him as being an elite running back like the Todd Gurleys and the David Johnsons. I don't see him being one of those type of guys. I see him being a top 15 more.
The thing about DeMarco Murray is that DeMarco Murray was a guy you turned it around and you handed it to. He was a tough downhill runner.
Ajayi type.
Kenyon Drake was a guy.
I'm not comparing. I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm not comparing them their styles. I'm comparing it the type of running backs they are. DeMarco Murray was never, in my opinion, a elite running back.
Oh, okay.
I'm just comparing
their level.
Top 15 running back. He's never going to be to that elite status.
I get what you're saying. Now, I think Kenyon Drake can be a top 5 back. Which is why it completely pissed me off last year when I didn't know what the hell the plan was for him. Me and Ron sat here plenty of weeks and we were asking what the hell is the plan, because Kenyon Drake was getting like 1 carry a game and I thought it was the dumbest shit ever. And then Jay Ajayi gets traded, and now Kenyon Drake, after Damian Williams gets hurt, he starts, getting carries to see what he is. But if we would have been using, I felt like we should have been using those guys in tandem with Ajayi, Drake, and 2-back sets and things of that nature. And it never materialized, and then we ended up getting rid of Ajayi. Like, I thought teams would have caught hell trying to deal with that, trying to deal with Ajayi and Drake and different formats. Getting Ajayi, getting Drake out of the backfield on wheel routes and shit like that shit would have caused problems, but it never materialized. And that's the thing with this coaching staff. They do things that don't make sense to me. Like they'll throw a screen to Danny Amendola with Jakeem Grant sitting on the bench. That doesn't make a lick of sense to me. None. Zero. So
I think my opinion of Kenyon Drake, if he had a coordinator,
right,
that would use him in a certain way.
Yep.
You're right. He's not a Todd Gurley, because Gurley can be a power back who can catch the ball.
Right.
That's not Drake. Drake is Le'Veon Bell.
Yep.
And that kid from Arizona, I forgot his fucking name. I know Jay
David
said
Johnson.
his name, but
David Johnson.
He's going to give you 12, 16 carries up the middle, get you some really good yards. There's elusiveness. He'll swing out. He can catch 50, 60 passes a year, give you 600 to 800 yards in the pass, and combined, he'll almost get you 2,000 yards from scrimmage. Now, if we had Mike Martz as our offensive coordinator, there is no doubt, my opinion, Kenyon Drake is the equal to Marshall Faulk. He'll run. He can run out wide. He can run through the tackle. He can run inside zone, outside zone, counters. His vision is elite. His elusiveness is elite. He has the cut ability of Barry Sanders. And the only question mark is like what we said last year. He didn't get no carries there or in Alabama, so you don't know if he can hold up as a 15 to 20, 25 carry guy. That's why we drafted Kalen Ballage. We gave up on that Davion Smith from Michigan because he was too slow. Even though he had a good skill set, they gave up on it because Gase wants fast. If you look at what we did, every single pick, Minka Fitzpatrick, he was top 1% at the combine in speed. Gesicki reset the standard at tight end with speed. Ballage is in the top 2% speed.
Yep.
Fucking even Cornell Armstrong, he's one of the fastest guys on the roster, even though he's not 6 foot at a corner. That Quentin Pauling, if he can ever figure out the playbook good enough, he's as fast as Baker. He just doesn't have. He's from Ohio Bobcats, a smaller Mountain Atlantic conference, so he didn't play the Texas Techs, the Penn States, the Ohio States, the Michigans. So he didn't get a chance to play at elite talent, but he has an elite work ethic. They compared him to Zach Thomas. The guy was always watching film. He'd get his teammates and his assistant coaches on defense, and he would run film studies on his own time. So if he ever figures out the playbook, he could take the wheel linebacker spot from Kiko Alonso. Then we could have McMillan in the middle, Baker at Sam, and Pauling at weak. Or we could put Baker in the wheel linebacker and put Pauling at Sam because he was a middle linebacker in college. But yeah, Marshall Faulk isn't got a skill set way better than Kenyon Drake. The only thing that Kenyon Drake has to prove is he can sustain the workload. And the way I see him came into OTAs, and they mic'd up Adam Gase. Adam Gase walked over, and they just came out of the tunnel, so he was walking around getting to the units. And the first unit he run into coming out of the facility was the running backs. And he looked at Kenyon Drake and goes, "Holy fuck, dude, did you work out?" Because Kenyon came in just jacked, like he went on a juice program. So I think he can do it. And I think if Gase is actually serious about what he's been saying for the last 3 years, his idol is Mike Marks, no huddle, fast break. The team that Isaiah keeps talking about this whole year is he wants to see us run something similar to the fastest show on turf.
That's my offense.
But we'll have the fastest show on grass because we play on grass.
That is. Man.
So if Gase is actually serious, I actually believe Kenyon Drake can give us the Marshall Faulk. He can, if he's used correctly, he can get those 600 to 900 yards in the passing game, give you 1,400, 1,500 yards on the ground, and when the dust settles, he's LaDainian Tomlinson all over again. He's got 2,100 all-purpose yards. He's got almost 20 fucking touchdowns if we give it to him. Now, if we chicken shit out and give Amendola all the opportunities in the red zone, we're going to fucking kick a lot of field goals, just the same way we always have. But I think the mixture between Gore, Ballage, and Drake is more than enough to give us a run game. And if you've seen Josh Sitton block in scrimmage, the only one that can stand up to him in practice is Vincent Taylor.
Yes.
And he can still root Vincent Taylor out. And if you've ever seen Vincent Taylor, the dude is like a fucking cement fucking pylon. And you got to try to pick that fat bastard up and get him out of there. He's so strong with his upper body. The dude did 38 reps. The guy can just sit there and fucking pluck your ears off your head without even you knowing. And Sitton, if he can stay healthy, has led big-time holes for Gore and Drake. And I can't wait to see it because it's supposed to debut in Carolina. But I'm worried because the Carolina finally has an offensive coordinator that's going to use that rookie running back from last year, McCaffrey. Yes, thank you. that guy is going to be fucking crazy to stop. They're going to run those wheel routes like they used to do with Moose Johnston and Emmitt Smith when he was coaching the Cowboys. And if you remember, he was their early on coordinator for Frank Gore when Gore was leading the league in rushing.
Oh shit.
Fucking, he can use an offense, and they had that kid, that Curtis Samuels last year
Yeah.
from Ohio State that's got blazing speed. We if we're not careful, he's going to run those quick screens and just the slants and the swing routes. Our linebackers, if we're not on it, it's gonna look really bad.
All right, guys. I gotta get ready to get the hell out of here. I gotta be up at 4 o'clock in the morning, thanks to my big mouth. Um, and I'm kicking myself all day tomorrow. I don't have another day off until Monday, Tuesday, and I'm about to do like 4 or 5 goddamn 14 hours. Um, tomorrow, Friday night, we will come back after the game. Hopefully, I don't fucking fall asleep, and we'll recap the game. If you guys are not on my Facebook page, I broadcast every single Miami Dolphin game on the Facebook page. So tune in, and then after the game, we'll be back. Dolphin Fan Voices podcast, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you have a Facebook page, make sure that you share the video on your Facebook page. Share it on your Twitter. Send it to your mama, your friends in them, your cousins in them. And we'll see you guys next time, man. Anybody got anything else before I close it?
Nope, that's
I
it.
really appreciate you streaming those games, man. Out here in California, it gets really barren. I cannot stand watching the Raiders and the 49ers.
All right, guys. I'm about to crash and watch my wife look at me funny because I'm going to work tomorrow.
Peace,
All
brother.
right. All right. Peace.